Let's take a look at styling in CSS that's called fixed positioning versus sticky and see what the difference is. Fixed position, you're physically, based on what W3 schools and what you've probably seen when it's reading, you're basically taking a look at your viewport, which is basically your screen. And what basically you're doing is you're putting it in a fixed position, which means it's always stationary and you have to control where on the page it's going to always be. So no matter what, it will always stay in that same location. So fixed position, all you have to do is put in the position style and you type in fix. Now keep in mind you have to control by using bottom, right, left, or top where you're positioning it. Okay, so if we take a look, I have some code up, and this page here is simply a web page, very simple. Let's just make some changes to this. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, I'm going to open up the code here. I'm going to go to the nav section. Let's see what happens here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in position fixed, and then I'm going to go in, I'm going to say top 0. Now let's just see what happens here. So I refresh the page, it automatically puts it at the top of my container. No matter what, when I scroll down, as you can see here, it stays in that fixed position no matter what. Okay, and you've probably seen something like this before. Use a navigation bar. I know at the school that I teach at, it's set up the same way. So for example, Columbus State, I scroll down, that area up here stays in position. Okay, now you can see here though it throws off your your layout, because when you use fixed position you got to control where your positioning is at. And really, because of this, my coding, I have my nav section after my header. It's probably, if you're going to have the nav at the top, it's probably just important just to cut out that nav section and put it before the header. Okay, and when I do this and I refresh, do I get any other changes? No, because when we use fixed positioning, it's going to put it on top. But then we want to control and utilize margins and padding. And what we want to do is I want to add a little bit more space above the header if I was going to do this correctly. And what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to add margin hyphen top, and I'm going to say 50 pixels at the top of the header. Now because I have this way this is laid out, then it's going to basically take this container, add space between the nav and the header section. And so now it'll force it down. But as you can see here, that navigation bar stays in the same place. Now let's make a change here. Let's go back, and I'm going to put my nav section back in after the header. Okay, and I'm going to take away this margin top. And this time what I want to do is I'm going to change this to position sticky. Now as we do this, we do want to control at the top the positioning as well. Oops, I spelled that wrong. Let me go. And so I'm going to say top here. Okay, the key now is when I scroll down and I get to when I start scrolling down and the nav bar gets to the 0 position, it's going to stay there. The 0 position is going to be up here at the very top. So as I scroll down, notice the navigation bar. Now you're going to say, well, geez, man, that's small. Well, what can I do to control the spacing? Well, again, this comes back into knowing margins and padding. So I'm going to add a little padding here. So in this case, I'm going to do, instead of doing padding all the way around, because I really don't want to affect the left and right hand side, I'm going to add a little bit to the top and bottom. Probably 10's too much in this regards. but at least will give you an idea when you look at this. So when I scroll down, notice again the spacing, and see how that area is always going to be at the top. So it looks like, if I scroll down, it looks like the fixed position, but the difference is sticky gets to a certain point, it's going to position itself.